go. Yeah, let's go live.
Cool, we're ready. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're live. Yay.
Oh, we're already live. Okay, that's exciting.
Oh no.
Hello.
Shit. Hello, everyone.
we may or may not be live.
No, we are live.
Okay. Hello. We're magically alive, potentially slightly alive.
Yeah, just a couple dozen
welcome.
days after the last episode. Yeah, go ahead. You just wanted to say welcome everybody, right?
Yes, I was going to say welcome everyone. This is episode 6 of PixFix, where we give you your fix of pixels, although at this point it could also be read as where we fix pixels, although fix is a strong word because sometimes things are worse, but you know, we try. It's all we can do. I'm Amberus, and this here is my co-host and the guy who does all the technical wizardry, Weasel. Hello. And we're going to show you some cool pixel art and critique it, and whether or not people want it. And the format of our series, or the format of the show for today, is edits in the front, edits that we've done from previous episodes / ones that we recently just stole because it's been a while, and other excuses. And then we'll move into going on to our Reddit. Our pixel art on Reddit, and I'm good with words. And going through them.
It's a concurring thing, I think.
Yeah, words about. And going through them and just having a chat about them. So, I believe the first thing we're actually doing is that Weasel is going to be telling us about his edit that he actually did from last episode.
Yes.
So
I can do that, which is not the one that's showing on screen right now. So let me switch.
Yes, not that one.
So, oh god.
There are sound effects to help with the transition.
Totally prepared.
Okay. That's correct.
This piece is by Idle, and he actually asked for critique as well, and I've spoken a little bit to him. Okay, so this was his piece, which I liked quite a bit from a design perspective and from the colors. I think it's quite neat. What instantly stood out to me though is that it looks really, really flat. So I tried to address this and some other issues with it that I found were not really benefiting the piece. So what I started with basically is like all the let's say main features of the piece. I tried to separate them, so which is basically like the two heads, because it's mostly like a conjoined monster kind of thing. So I tried to separate them and bring some form back into them, because the bottom one looks more like a skull with a slime attached to it. So I tried to make it more skull-like from the shape and the shading, and attach the slimy bits in a not too, I don't know, in a more separated manner, I suppose.
Okay.
Try to get the slimy parts back in forms of like dripping slimes from his mouth, or like small little highlights on the bubbly things that are going on. And I try to bring a sort of slimy, not really slimy, but like disgusting strings of possibly flesh that are being drawn down from the skull, where it's like sticking around. So it's probably sitting in this place for a long time, right?
Yeah. Probably likes that skull.
And then I tried to add in the pieces that I brought out before, piece by piece, like attaching the hands again. And then in the end, well, I did some edits here and there. I didn't really like what I did with the hands, so I changed it again. And I added the legs that were also in the in the original image, just changed how they appear, and I pushed them into the background a bit so they don't go into the front that much, so they don't take too much attention away from the piece, which I thought didn't really help that much. I know I'm kind of lost for words. I haven't been doing Pixar art in such a long time. It's a couple, days, weeks, probably a month ago now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Some of the details I tried to get to more realistic proportions, I suppose, like the teeth. I tried to give them a more humane look, even though they are like crooked and broken. But the overall skull is pretty much a human skull, even though it's not perfectly accurate when it comes to anatomy. But it's, well, sort of inspired by it, you could say.
Like their elements, yeah.
Yeah. For the slimy parts, I think I didn't do the best job on that, like how it attaches to the skull. I think that could be quite a bit more slimy. Looks sort of dried up, so I'm not sure what I should have done there to make it pop more, possibly with more colors. But I like the color palette that was used, so I didn't try to change it at all. And honestly, the colors used here are pretty fabulous. I mean, like the red sense is subdued, like brown going into the yellow with the greens in between. I don't know, it just really speaks to me, and so I tried to keep this color scheme going as well. And just added more details, like to the eyes, tried to add the make the pupils more stand out, bring the direction he looks into different directions. So he looks a bit more unhinged and like crazy, and not like a thing, but like just a blob that doesn't know what it's doing, basically.
Yeah, standard is normal blob-like behavior.
Yeah, there's some dripping things, and well, I think the overall thing I try to address is like mostly form and shading. So there's a definite light source, and you can sort of see what the actual shape is, how the depth also plays into the whole sprite. Like the legs are pushed back really far. Oh, you're crackling again. Stop moving.
Oh, sorry.
It's getting worse.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute myself momentarily.
All right. Yeah, I tried to be really subtle with the like stringy things here. Didn't try to highlight them all too much. Just a few of them, so there's a little bit of depth in there. But I didn't want to draw too much attention to them, so they don't stand out too much. Let's see. Is there anything else to say about this? Oh yeah, there's some dithering that was used here. I didn't really feel the need to, because it kind of takes away from the whole smooth, slimy thing that's going on. So I didn't think that was helping. I tried. You could argue this is a sort of dithering, but well, maybe not. I just tried to make a sort of texture here with like little clusters, even if it's like single pixels at some points, just to imply some sort of texture that's maybe sort of frog-like, I would say. But even then, it doesn't really go that well with how the slime is attached to the skull, so I don't think that works too well, but well, it is what it is, right? Let's see. Yeah, there's this glowing eye in here. I didn't really know what to do with it, so I just made it bleed ooze from its eyes. I think that works a little better, because I couldn't really figure out what this was supposed to do. Yeah, I think that's all I can say about it right now. there anything you want to mention there? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
I have unmuted myself, and hopefully my crackling is not killing everyone.
No, it's not right now.
Yes. So you changed everything, which is exciting.
This
cool.
is a complete rework.
This is a new piece. Complete rework using the same pieces.
Yeah, it's a interpretation of the original, I would say.
Yes, yeah, new interpretation. So I like. I didn't even notice that there was a skull in the first one. Honestly, when I looked at it, I remember.
Well, that's what I've seen anyways.
Randomly.
So, I mean, this looks like there's an eye here, there's an eye here, there's
there's
like fallen-in cheeks or something, and it just looked kind of skull-ish to me.
Those look scully,
like two
stuff happening.
Here. I don't know, but yeah, it looks looked like a skull definitely to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I hadn't even noticed that before, so that's cool. So you definitely went full out and made a skull. That's exciting. And that looks like a very deranged and scared frog is coming out of him.
It really looks more like a frog than anything else.
It really looks like a frog. But yeah, that's a hell of a lot more detail, and you can definitely see what's going on. Yeah, and you had like progress steps and stuff, and that's just not fair because I don't have progress steps. So that was rude. Don't do that again. I would.
Well, just like
no
progress steps, right?
Yeah. Anyway. But this is really cool, and it's it looks really rad. I can't really compare it to the old one because they're not the same.
Yeah, they're definitely not. But I just try to not really like remake the thing entirely. Well, even though I did. My points were more on what it maybe could have been with considerations to shape and shading.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, you showed that if you choose it, you showed his good light source and showed how many details you could pack in the amount of space that he was using, which is very impressive. Yeah, nice. Cool, man.
All right, should I switch over to yours then?
Yes, you may switch over to
this
my
beautiful
piece,
young lady.
Oh yes, beautiful. So this piece before, I probably should have stuck with it before. Biggest issue that I had with this piece is it's really hard to read what is going on here on the side. I just changed the goal. I didn't change the anything else. You'll see the differences there. They're definitely just trying to put in lots of detail all up in here, and I feel like it's just taking away from the whole image. When you look at the one time zoom, it's actually really tricky to see. In fact, I should, in the meantime, upload this to. I'll do it after I'm done. Okay, so yeah, I was just gonna redo the goal, and then I just revisited these hearts while I was at it because I don't really know what they're trying to do right now. It was very confusing. So let's get right into it. The hair is the first thing to touch, because here it sort of looks like it's divided in half, and this piece maybe sticks out as like a separate thing, but it's sort of curved and tilts up, and I was just like, what's going on here? And she's got a bit of a poofy thing that's happening, and it's sort of chaotic. I can't really read it well. The face also, too many pixels, so just gave it, one sort of flow, and then helped out with a couple of bits of dark to give her a little pathing. Kept the hair as like maybe going to the right and up because that's sort of what I could read, but I moved this middle parting to a right parting, her right, and just sort of changed the shading on the hair, the back, and on even at the front. Kept the volume, but yeah, just sort of trying to make it more flat, or at least more one solid form than what it was before. The dress thing to the booby thing with the short skirt.
Yeah, that's actually terms for clothing.
Are you wearing something here? Is it pink, but her hands are like casually pink, and this is casually pink? I tried to leave the outline for the most part, but for the stomach, I had to make it a little bit wider because it was just looking really weird. I actually had initially changed the shoulders, but it made her look less strong, so I kept nice big shoulders. She knows how to dual wield axes. Just a bunch of fixing up the light source, not doing below shading, that kind of thing. So in this case, it's assume that my light source is coming from top left. all the brighter shades are only on something that's in the foreground, so like the breasts stick out quite a bit and are above most other things. This arm here is sticking out quite a lot, and only in where the leg is lifted up where light will actually hit. I've used this lighter green, and then I've used the second green here for the back arm, and then the second level of lighting, and then the dark obviously for things that are mostly not being touched by light, and then there's a really dark one for here that are things that are hidden in gaps, in little caverns and stuff. You put these really dark greens, and that really helps it feel like, oh, these are not getting any light, not from the side, not from the sun, not even from the bottom sometimes. They're like in little crevices. And then did the same for the skin. Same idea, just less of the highlights, more of trying to even things out. I fixed up the hands just by simplifying them a lot. Not trying to draw individual fingers, for example. I don't actually know what's even going on here, but generally just trying to like make little fists, which are fairly simple shapes actually, so I went ahead and just made them far more simple. The axes, I don't know what is supposed to be happening on the faces. The shoes as well, I just made them simpler and sort of put the legs in more of a position that makes me feel like they're attached correctly, because here it sort of felt out. Okay, the axes, I just made this a blank block because I didn't really know what this was, so it's sort of like three plain pieces of metal and one sharp piece of metal. And then on this one I made it a flat side for the axe, and then I just drew a little heart with an arrow through it, because screw it, I didn't know what this was supposed to be, and I figured, here, this is how you would put detail onto an axe at this level. Yes, and then just fix the shafts, the handles of the axes. Generally speaking, if you try to sort of add this like highlighting of one side of a stick or something that's only 2 pixels wide, you end up with something that just looks quite you can see that it's this pixel gap, pixel gap, pixel gap, pixel gap. If it's not in a straight horizontal line, if they're diagonal like this, it gets very noisy if you try to do one. So what instead I do is just like, this is in the light, it's one color. Human eye is smart enough to know this is probably a stick, I'll make it round, and these outlines do enough to give you that effect, so you don't need to purposefully try to do anything like that. And then just underneath the hand, the shadow, underneath the hand, the shadow, otherwise it's in the light. Cool. And this also has a little bit of gives you an effect that this is sort of slightly behind and this is coming to the foreground. So I just think that really helped there. And then just to visit the hearts, I didn't know what they were trying to go with for this, whatever this is. I thought maybe it's some kind of indented thing, so I went with this indentation thing. I showed this is what like a normal roundish heart might look like, and then maybe it's like a flat heart pointing downwards or something, so I tried to do this kind of flat downwards pointing heart, which is only like slightly rounded there. And those are all the changes that I made to the skull. But I actually should have added a way darker color to the bottom of her shoes, but hey, what can you do? Hindsight. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Any comments? This guy also, I completely forgot to mention, but this guy did actually ask for critique. This is called Demon Burst by Moto142. I will paste this in the chat and then in the description afterwards. And yes, Weasel, sorry, please go.
I actually wanted to say something specific, which kind of fell out of my head right now, but what I really like is what you did to the ends, actually. It's really goes to show how much simplification can help with misdefining things, even. Because when you switch to the one before and you look at the ends, it's like so many single pixels and stuff going on. It's really hard to know. Okay, that might be a thumb and index finger, and maybe the pinky is sticking out, but does it make sense? Is that what it is? And in your edit, it's like, well, there's like 2 clusters and they shaped like a hand, and it's gripping around the shaft of the axe, and that works. Like you said, the brain does pretty much the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's I think that's really well, good lesson to learn, I suppose. Same goes for the stomach, really. I mean, there's a bunch of detail and highlight going on, maybe that's intended because there's some sort of shade there, but it doesn't really help tell what's going on there. So I think going with a more, well, even shading, I suppose, definitely help bring the sprite forwards. Also widening the midriff definitely helps selling the more buff character.
She definitely needed that when...
Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention is the one thing that sticks out to me is the quite intense anti-aliasing on the X blades. Any reason you kept that, or?
I think it's mostly laziness, if I have to be honest. I definitely could have cleaned up this axe in particular. But yeah, it was already there. Like, you'll see I did very little to the actual blades of the axes. So I was like, yeah. I mean, at one time zoom it reads well enough, so I didn't... And given that everything else has lost a lot of noise, it wasn't... Like, it didn't make me think, ooh, this really needs to be changed.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, you're quite right. There is definitely room for improvement on the blades themselves. Also, Mr. DL Darklink has commented that the clouds in the back look like mountains, and yeah, these kind of look like mountains lying in the sky. This, I don't know, is this a mountain in the background? I'm not really sure about the background, I'll be honest. This is why I just sort of left it. Also, it would have taken a lot of work to edit the
there's quite a lot that could be done in the background, but
yeah, so
I guess your focus was on the actual sprite.
Yeah, and I was purely focused on the sprite here. I keep doing this because I'm an idiot. But yeah, definitely focusing on the sprite was my main goal. Yes, so I've uploaded the image to low spec and I've posted it in the channel so that people may view the edit as they please.
You didn't. Oh, did you?
What?
No, you didn't. Oh well.
What?
What?
I upload. There's a link. Low spec. Blah blah blah. There we go. In the channel. I mean, in the.
Oh, maybe it's getting blocked because it's a link or something, and you're not the channel owner. I don't know.
That's rude.
We'll put that in the description box so people.
We'll put it there. Okay, that'll be fine. Yes. So let me move on to the next image then. This one. Let me just go to the old one. This one was not so much a problem with what he... it wasn't so much just trying to fix what he had done. More just trying to... I'm going to upload this now ahead of time so that people can follow along if they like. This is another guy from Reddit who did specifically ask for a critique. So let me just post the link to where he's asked it initially. And then let me copy over. There we go. So this is the edit, which you guys can follow along with if you would like. And so here you can see biggest problems with this one, I would say, are readability. It's just sorry, not readability, the noise. There's a bunch of single pixels that are alienated around here, and they just create just single pixels between it. It sort of looks like dithering sometimes, but it's really I think he's just trying to do it for the texture, or maybe he's doing it for both. And at one time zoom, you can tell that there's a path and some trees. These kind of look like palm trees, which is weird. But what I really wanted to do with this piece was take it quite out from where it was and really show some things that you can do if you get creative with your palette a bit. So I'm going to be discussing local colors a lot in this particular edit. And that's just basically you have trees that are brown and grass that is green and the sky that is blue and the dirt that is brown. There is no sky in this one, but that's the sort of idea. So let's try and get out of that and we look at this edit. So this is a lot darker. It's not the same vibe at all, and you sort of get like an idea of there's more shade and it's maybe a dingier, or not dingier, but a scarier forest than was before. I've taken it, so this cleaned up a lot of the noise. Just even in the background, these trees, I've just done simple blocks to say there are leaves here. This is a clump of leaves, clump of bushes, clumps of leaves, some horizontal lines of the light and dark, the lightest and second lightest color in the back, and then slowly getting darker with a lot of vertical lines to imply trees, and then any sideways tufts read instantly as tufts of vegetation of leaves. Without you actually having to draw individual leaves, because your eye is going, yes, all these vertical lines are trees, and they're always generally darker as well, which really helps the eye be like, this is a tree, trust me, I've done this enough. Then with the grass, I've used some of the colors from the background, some slightly different colors to try and pull things to the foreground and push those other things to the background. I've done more of like a really long grass sort of vibe here. These are sort of really tall grass. Some sticks sticking out here and there, and I've only lit up some of the grass to like imply that the trees are blocking out most of the sun and only a bit is coming through onto the ground here and showing that off. I've also changed the pathway, more these horizontal lines that you can see rather than the vertical, or rather than these dots, and to sort of go against the vertical of the trees, so you can see, okay, done with all that vertical stuff is obviously background and trees, and over here the horizontal stuff is this pathway that I'm walking on. And generally when you're looking at something at this angle, because it's quite tilted towards the screen, you will end up with more horizontal lines or shapes, or just everything will widen out because of the perspective. So yeah, these more horizontal lines are there to enforce that. Then I've decided to show off my magnificent skills that I have by doing one other thing, and that's that I've decided not to just make the trees brown and the path necessarily brown and the grass, well, it's still green. But if you look at the trees, they're actually gray. They're completely and utterly gray. There is no color in them whatsoever. But because of all the greens that you have going around here, these tree trunks look like they are, well, yeah, almost red. Or reddish, in a reddish tinge, sort of browny. And then this is also gray as a closer tree. And then this little bit of pathway here, which looks pretty blue at one time zoom, but you'll see it's also just a plain gray. And this is just showing that you can use extremely boring gray colors inside a piece that has a lot going on. And if you've defined your theme, like your colors, it's just this sort of like very greeny blue, because all of these are like, these are bluey greens. They're very blue. There's no lying. It's like, that's actually just a blue. Yeah, so I've done most of this is actually blue, and there's only a few greens to really make you think, oh, this is green. But they're definitely, even the like really green greens are hanging around here, very far away from the yellow side of green and much closer to the blue side. Yes, so that's more of like a defining mood. Don't stick to you don't have to make trees brown, especially not like a very brown. You can make them a nice desaturated color. A desaturated gray will do, or just plain gray even works. Grays normally you stay away from, obviously, because they're boring, but in the right setting, your grays become colorful. So that's exciting. Yeah, so that's mostly just cleanup and some showing you that you can do cooler things with colors. Cooler being a joke,
without colors even.
It's colder.
Or without colors even.
Oh yeah, without colors, yes, some nice grays. Yes.
Honestly, before you mentioned it, it actually didn't look like it was just gray. Definitely has a perceived red tint to it. That's pretty cool. It's a good lesson.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So, remember, non-local colors, and you can use gray as a hue shift, honestly. It works.
Yeah. Color contrast is interesting. How it works.
Yes, so this is interesting. I must have messed up somewhere that I have this many colors going on here. I'm sure I could cut this down significantly. It must just be...
well, right? Both.
Oh, good point. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, it's both pictures together. Thank you. My brain is off. Yeah. I don't... Yeah. Anyway, so that's... And you'll see that a lot of the color... I removed a lot of the details on these trunks because, honestly, they read as trunks. You don't need to necessarily have all these like lines trying to add texture to them, and the clumps of leaves were simplified.
Well, one thing I would say to that is the original looks more like a very, let's say, noon daytime sort of atmosphere.
Oh yeah,
A very
yeah.
very bright setting, and yours is more like maybe a dawn kind of atmosphere. Like you could imagine the sun just being like, I don't know, 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely in a different place entirely. Maybe even just there's definitely a lot less sun in mine. 100%. This is like very daytime, and there's obviously not much whatever canopy cover above this, because you can see quite a lot of colors here. So it must be a quite undense forest. Although that did sort of make me question the background here, because this is reminiscent of a very like these light colors that he's used here. Like this is green. He's definitely he gets the idea that in a thick forest you end up with like the background doing that nice green thing. So I sort of took that theme and just put it across the whole image instead of taking the foreground theme and pushing it back. Because honestly, the sky might have been blue here for all I know. Like if it's just a thin forest, like unless it's getting thicker there or something, you might even have a blue sky. Anyway, continue. Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, it's good. I like it. Cool piece.
Cool. The next one.
Yes, Ray fucking edits. What a guy.
What?
What? No, continue. It's all good.
The next one, I'm just warning everyone, is not much of an edit. It's half done. I ran out of time, and it was mostly just I did half of it. It's very half done. I'll post the Reddit link to the guy who made it, and then quickly upload this. Even though
I modded you, and now the link posting actually works. So if you just go ahead and post the other two again as well.
Oh, was it not working before?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I told you that.
You did. So I'll repost the first two.
Yep, that's perfect.
So that. Yeah. Sorry that this is all out of order and there's only chaos in the world, but at least the.
Yeah, I think people will manage to figure it out.
Oh, shame. That's actually I've posted some things really out of order. Anyway, and then let me just quickly upload this little tiger. I'm gonna have to make a lot of apologies for this one because it's I've changed a lot of things. Some things aren't necessarily better, but here we go. Next one is this little kitty cat thing.
Oh, that's a cute one.
Tigress. It's very cute. The original picture, horrendously cute. Love it. In my defense, you'll see there's a bajillion colors and 5. This is because the image was posted at some weird resolution that was like, the pixels, they weren't a specific number of pixels wide. They'd chosen to like blow this up by like 5.5 times or something. It was just, it was hard to get this back to being pixels alone. So you'll see even the edges, there's some like weird stuff going on here. But we do what we can.
So it got mixelified, basically, by scaling.
Yes, this has been mixelized. And
don't do this, guys. Don't do it. Not good.
Don't do it. Yeah, if you're gonna post
do any service.
No, it doesn't do any service. And if you're gonna post any art on Reddit and you're looking for critique, please either link 1x zoom. Even the bot even tells you that actually. Please link something that's at 1x zoom to make my life easier.
Even if you're just posting your art, it's sometimes it's really obvious if like there's a single pixel and it's just blown up to 5x5, and because you scale unevenly, it's 6x5, and that's sometimes really obvious and it doesn't look great. So just scale evenly.
Yeah, and if you're going to scale, please make sure it's of an even number, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, whatever. And this one's like 5.5 somewhere. Anyway, scaled it down. It looks not amazing. There's a few gross things at one times, but I'm sure it looked great when they first made it. Nonetheless, this one I didn't have so much, but I like the colors, and I've not even gone into pixel technique because I believe this is what we referred to as block art or blocky art, because it's not about pixel technique. Like there's no point doing any pixel technique on this picture because it's meant to be a piece of art that just has the pixel aesthetic as opposed to requiring any pixel technique. And it's got enough space that you don't really need to. You've got no real limitations. So all I've done instead He's just looked at this image. Looks very flat. Like it looks more like a sticker of a kitty cat that's stuck on here. So I've given him a beard. Don't ask why. It was fun at the time. I was just following things and got lost. This is stuff that happens when you do things. But here, the chest mostly, I'm like, put the light slightly higher. In fact, I didn't even move it. I just put more dark at the bottom. And here for the neck, if it's going to be light, it must be sticking out in some way. So I made it sort of like drooping from the schnozzle, whatever you call it, muzzle. I was looking at references of baby tigers on the internet, and they have white fur all up in all kinds of bits, so I was just adding it for fun. And I did some more lines here and there, tiger linies. Also just because the reference had them, but it's not important. I did a little bit of darkening on the eyes here, and a little bit of darkening on these hands, and made the little pawsies white because it's cute. The main thing here is just that less light is actually going to reach the bottom here, less light is going to reach the bottom of his furry tuft, less light is reaching the bottom of the areas than what is previously done, and putting just even this slight little bit of darkness here just shapes the head slightly. On this left leg, though, his left, alright, this part should really be quite far back. Like this is covered by a lot of the tiger, so the light isn't getting here directly. So I don't think you should use this color. I think this color should be reserved for where light doesn't touch. But this is all areas where the light doesn't touch, and this one especially. This is in a crevice. Like there's a little bit of his tummy thrown through, and there's really dark on the inside. No light is getting here, so I thought that you should really show that. Also, I moved the leg because cats don't sit with their legs out pointing inwards. That's weird. So I just moved the legs to being folded like this and pointing outwards. And yeah, then this area is being connected by light. This area is being connected by light. Little toesies also fluffed in white. Yeah, so that was mostly just changing the light source, really. That was the main thing here. Not that exciting. Very short, very quick, and I apologize for how rough it is. But yeah, there we go. Any comments, Weasel?
The fucking beard gets me. he looks like Santa Tiger or something.
He does look like Santa Tiger.
Or like a hobo tiger. I don't know.
He looks old. He looks like an old kitten. I don't really.
Yeah.
It's okay.
An old kitten.
You know, what are you gonna do? Yes. Any comments though?
Not really. I like where you started taking this, especially with the leg. That actually helps quite a lot. Bringing it like in a more to not give it this sticker feel like you call it. What I'd like to have seen is
sticker, yes.
Yeah. What I'd like to have seen is like an adjustment on the front. Well, let's call it arms. Because it looks like they're sticking out of the tummy and not coming from the shoulders.
That's quite right. They do look like that. I didn't want to mess with that too much because I think maybe it was some like weird chibi thing. But yeah, you're right. I should have at least make them stick out from a shoulder or something.
Yeah, but other than that, don't really have too much to comment on it. Looks fuzzy.
Looks fuzzy. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to change away from their like sort of floofy roundness. You can keep the floofy roundness, honestly, and you don't need to change where the white
works better if it's more like fluffy, especially for this cute style. I don't think the frizziness of the beard you added really helps with the cuteness. That's why I have to laugh.
Anyway, yeah, so definitely keep the and like don't stray away from this. I was just doing it in a rush, so I kind of just it's easier to do it this way. It's harder to follow cute little round bobs. Just because it's harder to edit these once you put them down. Once you put like outlines on a piece, it's impossible to change it while you're messing around because you have to like draw outlines again. And I'm changing the size of my brush, and it's chaos. But yeah, so there we go. That's those. Then that's me. I'm out. That's the edits that I did. I could show you the progress of my Shmuptivity though.
For everyone who doesn't know, Pixonomicon has a Shmuptivity going, and since you're quite involved with it, you might be able to tell us something about it while you show us your sprite for it.
Yes, so I'm going to post the link to Shmuptivity. Why not? We'll just post that in. It is an awesome activity. Basically, what you have to do is that you are given, and I should open it up since I might as well open it up somewhere. You are given a template, one background, and then 2 parallax layers, and you have to put these into the Shmuptivity website. So there's an upload where you put your own version of this. It is a small shmup, shoot 'em up. You play as a spaceship, you're flying up. In fact, do you want to share? We'll share it now. And you play as a little spaceship, and you shoot some aliens.
Yeah. Not necessarily spaceship though. You can make whatever you
Yeah,
want.
good point. Sorry, you make whatever you want to be your shmup. You just are a little player character. You have you've got a going straight, left, right, and so basic animations on yourself, some enemies, a boss enemy, explosions, that kind of thing, numbers, and then these parallaxes to work with. These are the only assets that you have that you can make. You have to make this page. This is just the template showing you where you need to put things, and then you upload it into the website, and you can play with your art immediately in the game. It swaps live in real time. You have to hit reset in case enemies have already spawned, just to reset their sprite, or you can just wait until the next enemy comes by, and then they'll be spawned with the new sprite sheet. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's extremely fun to actually make art for something that you can see immediately. There's a game for it, you're making art for it, you feel good, you put it in, immediate instant gratification.
Yeah,
you
it's
get
a good
to
practice
test
as well. Just to
yeah, very good.
If you're not really working on a concrete project now, or just playing around, and you want to do some get some experience doing some production, even if it's something small like this, right? It's like a complete experience, sort of. You have some sprites, you have bullets, you have text, you have backgrounds. Even though it's a really small scale in terms of scope, it really gets you from A to Z, right?
Yeah, no,
the only
exactly.
thing that's
It's
missing is, I guess, the menu.
yeah. No, I mean, there's only a couple of things missing. A real game would probably have more and be slightly more specific. But yes, it gives you real life work experience, sort of.
Yeah, and you can
vibe.
use it as a portfolio if you like.
Yes, you can just add this to your portfolio. Just use the shmup, record it while it's playing, add that to your portfolio. Bam, easy.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful, and you've made things.
Didn't any also make it so you can like permanently upload it and then choose it from the down list? Or is it still
Yes. So that's not done yet. So what'll happen is that once the instructions are on the website, but once you actually once you've actuly wow, my brain is off. What was I saying?
Uploading stuff.
Yes, sorry. Once you've uploaded once you've finished your sprite sheet, you send it to Any on NA, or I don't know how you pronounce his name, on Discord, and
link in the
he
Shmuptivity site as well. Will be linked in the description as well.
Yeah, it's in everything's in the Shmuptivity description. Tells you how to do it. You just upload it or give it to him, and then later on what he's going to do is that he's going to add to the website a drop-down list where you can select from other people's entries, so that you can just play their entry live on the website, so that you can check out what other people are doing, which is also exciting.
That's really cool. I have to tell him that maybe should add an option to direct link to a specific entry. So I can put the name of the sprite sheet in the address bar, and it takes you directly to it if you want to use it as a sort of portfolio kind of thing.
As a link. That's a really good idea.
For people to show it directly.
Cool. We must make that show. Cool. So I'm just going to go into my whip of my current entry. I've just done a simple rough background here, trying to give it some really strong perspective. You can see it's supposed to be a galaxy, and then it's sort of like spiraling outwards, and hopefully you can see that it spirals outwards. That goes backwards, this comes forward. Really trying to overdo the perspective here to make it really feel like you're pretty far from the galaxy, but you're flying around the outside, and it's definitely there. And this dark red color with all these reds and purples, they give it a nice ominous feeling, and also match the enemies. Oh wow, wrong thing. They match the enemies, so you can actually, they feel like they belong here, and not you. You feel like a foreigner. You're in this little white ship, and you're flying around, and you're in their land, and yeah, you're the naughty person because you're invading them, or maybe they came to mess up your planet and you've gone back to theirs to make sure they never do it again. Anyway, you can see the boss is still missing. I've finished a lot of this. This bottom stuff here is mostly done. The boss I'm just working on, he's a big lobster. Yeah, look at the lobster. And he's gonna sit here with a little animation.
The lobster studies.
Yes, I've been doing a bunch of studies of lobsters and crustaceans and stuff because that's the theme of my enemies.
Awesome.
I actually did that because I wanted to use the red. I'm using On's palette, and you'll see this red is the only red that he actually has. All the other colors are not red. Which is another thing where it's like you don't really need other reds. These are all browns and pinks and stuff. But if your medium tone, your mid-tone, if your mid-tone is a color, then everything else that you do, as long as it's close enough, will read as that color. Your mid-tone is the thing that conveys the actual color of objects. So here, my mid-tone is the red, even though it's a bit of a highlight. But this is where most of your brain is going to go. This is a red object, and then I've got these browns and purples and whatever, and your brain's just going to go, it's a red thing. We're fine. Yes, so that's the main reason I actually made them red, and then I thought crustaceans, they're red. The player ship is actually based on the logo. That ship that's in the background, the one that's just the wireframe. This is it from top down a little bit.
Can you zoom in a bit on that?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm smart and I know how to do things. It doesn't look great with this background, but let me just quickly open up the ships as a separate file so that you can see. Yeah, there we go. There's my grids and my spaceship with the black background, so you can see the tilting. Yeah, so crustacean enemies and yeah, that's. And let me just open up the. Oh, so many things I got to open up. Open up the logo quickly, just on. So just this ship is not the other ones. Is there? This is like my interpretation of it. What I was thinking when I made it. It's slightly different, but you know you can't really. This has a really cool effect for this perspective. It looks cool, but then you change the perspective, it sort of loses a lot of its coolness. So I had to make some changes. But anyway, that's basically where it comes from. Yes, so actually let me just change my share to the Shmuptivity screen now so that I can stick this in and you guys can actually see how it looks, I guess.
Do it.
Do it. I'm doing it. Hold on. I want to an application window, but this one? We're doing this live. I could accidentally show off my Facebook or something. You never know. Hopefully this works.
Yeah, it looks good.
Can you see? Okay, so this is the website that we're talking about. You can see here how to participate. There's the template, and this is how you submit. This is what it looks like right now. I'll just play the game quickly with... these are the programmer graphics that Annie made. They're great. They're functional. They're here. Game looks magnificent. And really, this is all that you need to work with. You will see now, though, that if I go select local sprite sheet, and we go to my first entry, 3.1, and there we go. It's changed the ones that were there. It's updated the new ones, and there are my crabs. And oops, I got hit because I'm bad at this game. Everything coming across screen. The boss hasn't been put in, so you fight a giant box right now. It's not as exciting as it could have been. But yeah, this is it.
That's pretty
Live.
cool.
Happening. It was that easy. I literally changed it while I was fighting enemies, and then victory. Yay. Okay. And that's it. Any questions? Any comments? Any offensive things that people want to say to me?
Your parallax stars field looks like snow falling down. Maybe you should need to tone the speed down on the parallax a little bit, because I think it's quite a bit too fast. Or maybe, I don't
think he's gonna change it. So maybe I'll just change the stars to look different. Like this, the background's all very whoop. I haven't. I just put them. You'll see that this is all 2 times pixels. They're not even single pixels. They're all because I was using the 2x brush when I drew them.
Okay,
Maybe
so
I'll change
lazy then.
Yeah, I'm just lazy. I'll be fixing it. It's just this is the progress. Why you can't be so harsh on me? And I'll change the color so it doesn't look like
loads more productive than me,
scumbag.
so I can't complain really.
Yeah, exactly. You get busy on your one. Yeah. I'm glad that it freezes now when you don't focus on it. That's cool. Yes, that's me. I am done with this thing. I will reshare back to Sprite.
Excellent. So yeah, if anybody's interested, head to the website pixionomicon.net/Shmuptivity, links in the description, and take a shot at it and let us know in the Discord how it's going. If you want any critique or feedback on it or just want to show it to us, we would really like to see it.
Yes, we would. Okay, shall we move on to the unsolicited critique?
You mean the thing
segment.
we usually do here?
The thing we usually do here, yes. The actual thing that we do. So we're switching over to our Reddit, and we're gonna start
our Reddit again. What's wrong with you? It's our Pixar.
Our pixel art on Reddit. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I know.
Okay.
All right. First entry. That's not the first entry, but the first image on the site for me at least right now is 3 video game swords by Haikira, and
yes,
you may recognize some of them or all of them.
Yes.
I believe the first one is Link's sword, the Master Sword.
Yes.
The second one should be the Monado from Xenoblade Chronicles, I believe. I'm not quite sure. I didn't follow the Xeno series after Xenogears. But I think it's from Xenoblade. And the third one should be from Transistor, I think.
Yes. Quite right.
And they
nailed it.
Look quite nice, actually. I do like them. Yeah, I do like them a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely like these a lot.
Loop it.
I don't like the fact that we have to keep looking at videos instead of GIFs. So it's going to be basically impossible to edit these. But yeah, just having a look at them. They look good. I would like to see them at 1x zoom. Also, alas, cannot. But he's obeyed a very important rule of pixel, not rule, but a very important thing to do in pixel art is choose angles for straight lines that work with pixel art. So that in this case, he's gone with all horizontal lines for his swords. The straight lines are all horizontal. This is perfect. Pixel art works well at horizontal, obviously horizontal, vertical, diagonal. So all these lines are diagonal. I used the wrong words because I'm stupid.
I was about to say what? Okay.
Yes, so you see that he's chosen to align his swords in such a way that they match up perfectly with the diagonal. Which
and he also didn't choose any weird angles on the swords as well. Like some swords could be like thinner to the front, or curve does sometimes work, but it's like
true.
What's it called? Protracting to the tip of the sword. That doesn't really work all that well in pixel art. So I think it's just better to go with a straight blade.
Yes, yeah, these are the kinds of things that should be taken into consideration if you're doing weapons or anything that requires straight lines. Just try to find a way to make them conform to one of the angles that works well with pixel art, which is generally your 45 degrees. There's like a 60-something degrees, which is isometric. That line also works. Flat horizontal, and then vertical. Yeah. Those will work for you because you can make straight lines forever. Yeah,
and
so
it
he
doesn't
has
get crooked, like 2 pixels, 1 pixels, 2 pixels, 1
yeah,
pixel.
exactly. Yeah. You want to be like 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel, just straight line. So try to choose one of those angles that really works. You get a lot more the closer you are to horizontal or vertical. You get more options because you can just choose further and further number of pixels in the line. Yes. So that's really cool. He's got some nice perfect circles going on here. Again, it's nice and easy to do circles that you know are circles in pixel art. So he's chosen his subjects well, and he's done them brilliantly well done for that. And then cute little animations. It's very smooth. I like that the light is pulsating on our middle sword. And yeah, there's some problems with the transistor sword. Struggling to like it. The perspective keeps shifting as I look at it, which is
especially
weird.
with a handle.
Yeah.
The way the perspective is shown, it looks like the handle is shifted to the right.
Yeah.
Or to the upper edge, I should say maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks a bit off on further inspection.
Yeah, so he's messed up a bit there, I guess. But what can you do? I think it might just be the lighting, because I think the lighting sort of changes on the transistor sword. The other swords have pretty consistent lighting going on, but then the transistor sword sort of gets a little out of character and things get tricky. Yeah, but otherwise, pretty cool piece.
Yeah, I like it. Cool.
Like it. Good job. Moving on. Yeah, good work. Do you have a cute little lighthouse next?
Yes.
Cute little lighthouse. Fantastic. I'm liking the look of this before opening it, so let's hope that I continue to be optimistic.
No, it's actually quite nice. I like how
excellent
how the bricks are only hinted at, which is a fairly common mistake people make, to render each and every single brick, which basically ends in a very regular grid, which just doesn't look all that great. So I really like what he did with just hinting at the brick. What's the word? The space between the bricks.
Yes.
Like just at the edges where the light is less likely to hit them. So that's really good. I like that.
Yes, he's done well. This is by Angry Snail.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention
just
that.
to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I also you should always hint details, especially if you're very limited for colors or space or something. Hinting colors is hinting details. Sorry, is always just good practice, because it's not as if it's not a detail that you want to stick out a lot, you just want it to be there, something that exists, doesn't pop out, like the bricks, for example. He just wants you to know the texture of this thing. It's bricks. So he's just give it a little bit of brick here, just there and there, just adding it. And there's a few chips away at it and stuff. You can see, it's like an old lighthouse that's been there a while. So he did very well.
Yeah.
Lighthouse itself. Obviously, it's a little bit confusing because the sun, you can quite clearly see, is behind him, but the lighting is from the front. But this is fine. It is.
Yeah,
it is stylized. The light's okay.
Even though I would say the sun doesn't do anything in this piece, so I just remove it.
Yes, honestly, this piece, and then the rocks at the bottom don't quite follow the same consistent light source, and this, I guess this is the water breaking underneath at the bottom, which is just
as well.
Squiggly noise. The clouds are very nice though, the cute little tapering off of the dot, which is a form of dithering, but done well. The sun, I probably could just remove it, honestly. And then the roof of the lighthouse has also got some weird coloring going on a bit. Maybe could have, because the lines are a bit odd, and I just think they probably could have done this slightly differently, the roof. But yeah, I mean, I like the colors. I like pastel colors, so I'm a sucker for this. Yeah, I like the colors he's used on the main lighthouse and the hinting of the bricks. I'm happy.
Yes.
I will actually. I think I might just do those little edits for next episode. Cute piece. I like it. Just to put it over the top. Okay.
You're just gonna make 1,000 edits again, aren't you?
You're gonna come out and it's gonna be a million. What are you gonna do? Cool. What is that you have there next?
That's
mallet being
melee
smashed.
Weapon by Turtle.
Ooh, multiple
100.
melee weapons.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, there's an axe. There's a sword going swing swan.
Turtle 100. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, I was just trying to count what weapons we have, but I lost count.
Yeah, this is quite. Oh, and it's a very smooth. I like how smoothly he
The transitions between the weapons.
Transitions between the weapons, yeah. Oh,
that's really cool.
Beautiful, actually. This guy he's got some really cool animation stuff going on. So actually, perfect example. We were mentioning about certain angles working really well for weapons, for straight lines. Also certain weapons, just in general. But he is following a lot of these, I think.
Yeah. Well, in some frames it's not really
in
happening,
some frames you can see it.
In animations you can forgive it because you only see it for frame, and you might want to have it at a specific angle to sell the movement. So sometimes you just can't help it, and you have to just bite the bullet and make it wonky, even though it maybe could have been more straight here. I'm not sure why there's this weird step here. I don't think it does anything.
That's it. For the keyframes, for the ones where the object is still a lot, you will see that he does stick to horizontal lines, which is just once your brain has been sold the idea that it's straight, like during the animation, your brain will just automatically assume it is definitely straight. Don't worry. Yeah, awesome transitions. I love it. Little spatters of blood.
What is interesting to see here is he uses several different kinds of smears, and let me try to grab some of them. And there's a okay here. This is like a very traditional smear. I'd say it's like just get the previous frame, get the next frame, and just smear the color from the end to the front in a nice arc, basically. And that's what a lot of people do, and it works really well. I'm not sure if you actually benefit from adding an outline there, because normally the outline is only on the object itself, not on the smear. It depends on what kind of style you're going for, though. Sometimes it works better, sometimes it doesn't. Then there's the next one. Shit, it's too late.
You have to rewatch the whole video.
No.
You don't know. You can just go back.
Shit! I didn't click fast enough.
You can click back in the video.
Oh yeah,
I'm giving you.
Oh man, look at this guy. You actually know computers a little bit. Okay.
I'm normally the technologically retarded one, so this is quite special.
Okay, this is another really common technique. I'm not sure. Was it called doubling or so? I'm not sure. Where you have like the starting frame, you have the end frame, and in the frame between. I think Disney did this quite a lot back in the day. And then you just add a frame where you have all the in-betweens in one frame, basically, and your mind tricks you that it's just like going instead of like
really fast,
snapping there. And that actually does work quite well. I mean, this is really just like 1, 2, 3 frames, and it looks like a smooth motion. So that's really cool.
It's true.
The next one would be the sword, and this is more like an energy line.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting that it chooses to use a edgy, or angular lines for this, which is a neat decision, I suppose. But sword slashes usually are quite smooth in their trajectory, so. Personally, I don't dig that as much, but as a style choice, I guess it works. And I like the color transitions on the screen as well. This looks like it could be inspired by Saint Eleven's smearing tutorial, which he did, I don't know, a couple months ago by now, probably. And the spear does, I think, some in-betweens, like there's some doubling there.
Yeah.
There's some fading energy lines and stuff.
And it disappears a couple of frames, No, that's definitely...
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely a nice showcase of things you can do.
Different smears that you can do.
The sprites itself could be nicer. That's... It's very basic, but I don't think that was the purpose of the practice as well, so...
Yeah.
I can forgive it.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not meant to. I like that with the sword with the energy slashes, he chose to choose one with a where the tang is not the full width of the blade, so that you can see which way is up, because he actually changes which direction it's facing as he cuts,
Yeah,
which is cool.
that's a nice
But
thing
yeah,
as well.
I would have liked to see a little more contrast on the on the metal bits on the blade / blunt end of some of these weapons. Sorry, I just need a cough. I'm dying. It's the black lung.
Don't die.
I like that he's sorry, don't know. Hope he had put more darker shades on the metal to show that it's metal.
Yeah, it kind of looks like stone tools, almost.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, metal would have way more contrast. But even stone, you would expect more on the mallet, especially, to have darker, way darker versions on where it's not being lit. But yeah, showcasing of good animation and cool transitions. So this is how I die. Just letting you all know.
Do it. We have to do another episode sometime.
Oh, damn it, sorry, you're right. Okay, but yes, so good job. Like it.
Yeah,
on to the next
cool.
one. Oh, we also, I don't know, for those who haven't watched previous versions, we're trying to be faster.
It's not working, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we're being slightly fast. Trying to be faster with each piece, because we were spending a long time on some of them.
That's true. Next one.
Cool.
Nice little street piece by Pink Turns to Blue. Which I guess in this piece it sort of does.
Yeah, that's quite right. He's just using his name to full effect. Ooh, he has asked for CC.
Oh, that's good.
I might just save it. How are you feeling about this? I'll save it.
Into it right now, but it looks really nice at first glance and even at further inspection. I like it.
I do. Oh, I should. Yes. So, there is probably not the best dithering that I've even ever seen going on in his in the sky there. I am a bit of a dither hater, just for those that don't know. I kind of try to avoid dithering if at all possible. I know that there are a lot of artists and professionals that do like dithering, so that's it's just a weird preference that I have. But if you are going to dither, then there are definitely techniques that you can use to make the dithering look a little smoother. And this is a bit, his sky's a bit.
It's bandy.
Yeah, it's a bit bandy.
What I would say here is well. He used the dithers in bands, right? There's the brightest color, then there's a band of the dithered color, then a band of the next darker color, and this just keeps going on. If you want to smoothly dither colors in a nice gradient, you can try to blend the different bands more into each other, so it looks like a smooth transition. Or you can actually try to use shapes like clouds and so on to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to do that. But given that his road is one solid color, I honestly don't think he would have lost too much to just have a solid color for his sky either. There's very few colors in this whole piece.
That's true, actually.
So maybe he could have actually got away with just one color. You can see that the trees, the leaves have not really been paid as much attention as they could be to look like leaves. A lot of it sort of looks
messy.
Yeah, it looks messy, and it sticks out a bit because it's in sharp contrast with his buildings, which are very straight shapes.
Very clean
he's
as well.
added very clean. He's added perspective to his buildings, I believe. They're not just in a straight line, if I'm not mistaken. They're sort of like coming out. So he's struggling from a few of those non-straight line issues that you can see on some of those windows, especially.
Yeah, that's always an issue when working in perspective and pixel art.
Yeah, I thought like having perspective in pixel art will give you these problems just because it's the nature of what it's like. you can't get away from that other than not having perspective, which is generally why.
But you can anti-alias the shit out of it, but then.
Yeah, anti-alias a lot. Which is another reason why sometimes I question blocky art or block art. I think block art sounds better. Block art or question block art, because I'm like, well, you're going to run into some limitations that are going to inhibit you because of the way the pixels are, rather than drawing a piece that actually benefits from what pixels do. So changes in perspective, like perspective changes, are a big weakness for pixel art. Straight objects. On organic objects, you can still make a plan, but c'est la vie, such as life. And also, large areas of color that slowly need a change in a gradient. That's another thing that pixel art really suffers from. So he's gone with two things that are notoriously hard. Also, leaves and trees are notoriously hard. But yeah, I mean, look cool. It's got a nice mood to it as well.
Yeah, the mood is great.
Good colors. Cool. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Dare I say, move on? Look at us going through pictures. Familiar. Aha! We have. This is by damn it, what's his name?
Hi, it says Tony Redmer for 5pixel Studios.
Yes. That.
I think I've seen that somewhere on Twitter, perhaps. I'm not quite sure.
But yeah, no, he's the guy who worked on Chasm alongside Dan Fessler. So this is the other guy. You can see that his style. The other guy. Well, you can see that his art is heavily influenced by Dan's art, I would say. If I remember correctly, I hope that I'm not saying this wrong, but if I remember correctly, Dan started working on Chasm first, and then Tony here, who I remember a piece that he did with a beachfront with the sky in it on Pixelation a while back. So he was still starting out then. So my guess is, educated guess / what I think I remember is that Dan Fessler started working on Chasm, and then because of the style that Dan had, Tony had to adopt the same style, or didn't have to, because it's a game, and you can really see that it's very similar to Dan Fessler's art style, just because of the colors that he uses and the shapes that he chooses to make out of his pixel art. Yes, so there's your history lesson, kids. Good.
Pixel art history.
Yeah, that was kind of some pixel art history about Chasm, and how sometimes styles are passed over from one person to another, especially if you work together. And Dan has a fantastic style, so I would definitely, if I'd ever worked with him, also have loved to hop over to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, so I've actually already looked at this piece, of course, because I'm following Tony on Twitter. And I, of course, like it. I like everything Dan puts out, so obviously I like everything Tony puts out. I do think that the animation of the leaves... Wind is a wind animation. The animation of leaves, if you actually watch trees in wind, they come over the trees more like a wave. So you'll have one solid wave moving from left to right, going over the whole tree. So all the leaves will move at the same time in a vertical line across, all the leaves.
It's slightly delayed. From front to back, but it's like you said, it's more a wave and not like individual
random
branches wiggling around randomly.
Yeah, so this looks really weird from that, but it is a cool animation that he's done. So I think if you just plucked apart his animation of his leaves and did it more in like a wavy fashion, that would be perfect. I do have a problem with the base of the tree. The perspective is weird. I don't even think it matches the perspective of the leaves, so maybe the base could have been a little bit rounder, but also the shadow itself is it also has a really different perspective to the surface that it's on. But I've seen it in game, and I don't think you noticed that at all. I think it's just because this specific piece is a tree sitting on an island with a slightly different perspective. So I don't think that's a real problem. And yeah, he's got some cute little simple water animation there, some little ripply water animation going on, which is very effective.
For the water animation, I quite like it. What I think could be a bit more interesting is the fucking overlay. The highlighting lines on the edge of the water.
Oh yeah.
I would have liked to see them move a little bit because they stay in place, and normally the highlight moves with the water as it goes up the rocks. So this would make it a little bit more dynamic on the bottom edge as well as on the sides. Just a little bit of movement to hint at the water actually moving up and down as well. The darker shades are actually really great. Let me move my mouse away. How the refraction of the rocks going deeper into the water and how the waves are distorting it, that looks actually quite nice. Another thing that really sticks out to me though is the trunk and how it sticks into the grass, because there's a really dark shadow beneath the trunk. And there's also a highlight on the trunk, so that just doesn't compute with me.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there at the base.
Yeah, I think just putting like 2-3 smaller bushes there would already easily fix that. Even if it's for game, that's just put a bush there.
Put a bush, done. Fix your problems with a bush.
Yep.
Who knew?
That's how I fix all my problems.
Yeah. Also, just having a completely round shadow also, when everything else is so organic and nice and cool and shapeful, and then the base is just like, oh, shadow's an oval, and you're like, oh well, could have been cool if you did something else. Anyway. Yes, I mean, yeah. That said, this is definitely sort of nitpicky. If I saw this in a game, I'm running on the game world, I would definitely just be playing it with one hand, the other hand in my pants. So yeah, not actually going to complain.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but yeah, that's if he feels like he has some time and he feels like doing something, then this is the advice that I would give. Yeah. Otherwise, I love the way that the rocks are done. Love the way the grass is done. It's good. There's actually talk in this why it's good. You'll see that his leaves, grass, and rocks, they have large areas of flat color. This is very much cluster based. And Dan was very much Dan was very much very very keen for the clustered approach.
Cluster evangelist.
And yes, he's a cluster evangelist, quite right. And he even he's the one who made index painting a big thing, I think, with his Photoshop tutorial as well. He gave a tutorial on how you can do index painting. But yeah, often you will end up with these nice large. That was Dan, but I'm guessing Tony probably follows the same sort of thing. Yeah, so large areas of nice open color, and then only hints at the edges of the shapes to show you this is grass. Here's some texture, but just at the edges, the rocks, large area of flat shape. Every face has a large area of flat color, and then it just shows off faces. It's just like, here's a face, here's a face, here's a face, and that's basically what they use the colors for, with a slight bit of shadow here and there, and some highlights on some nice jutty outbits for the rocks. Same with the grass.
The colors are basically reserved for the direction the face is painted.
On the rocks, and then
which is
for the grass.
What it basically does in real life as well. So
exactly, yeah.
Just,
so
just
it's just
a minimization of details that really helps selling this.
Yeah, exactly. And then same with the grass. Just the edges, the dark colors are reserved for the edges, and the leaves. You will see, even though the leaves they're so very detailed, and they do have a lot of colors in them. You'll see that the lightest one is one large area of pixels. It's like a bunch of pixels that behave together, even if they've been orphaned every now and then for a frame or because of an angle. They follow the same. There's a parent shape that they all follow, a parent cluster that they all follow, and then once you put all of the different color clusters together, they make a super cluster of the shape of a leaf. And that's just I love this style, this way of doing pixel art. So,
super cluster, is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to call them? The super clusters are like when you have a bunch of clusters of different, like you have, because normally people refer to clusters as being one color, but the thing is that you need to have clusters to define a leaf. Even if it's got multiple colors on it, you can see that the one, like that cluster is a leaf. It is a leaf cluster. If you had chosen to use fewer colors, like just one color for the whole leaf, you would have a cluster. But because you've chosen to like go into detail on the leaf itself to add even more colors, but they're actually really close, you end up with what I would just call a supercluster, which is just where a bunch of little clusters become a supercluster.
Cluster,
yeah.
I like it.
Yes, cool. Okay, we can look at the next one. Shame we've given too much time, but this is a fantastic piece. Good job. Always love the work that Tony puts on. You should follow him on Twitter. Oh, sorry, let's just plug quickly. You should follow him on Twitter, and there you saw Tony Redmer and Fire Pixel Studio to follow their game. It's really cool. It's coming along. It's looking rad. Sorry, continue.
Also Dan Fessler, because he's just a great guy.
Also, good point. Please go follow Dan Fessler. He does not have enough followers on Twitter. It's really weird. He's ridiculously good, and somehow, I don't know, doesn't market himself or something. Okay. Yoshi, there was a Pixel Art Daily for Yoshi recently.
Yesterday, apparently, by Finterman.
Yeah, Finterman. Cool.
Trying to figure this out. Well, the Yoshi is obvious. Is this Yoshi in a cart, or is it in an egg with rockets?
I think he's on. I think those are meant to be wheels. I think it's some kind. I never played the game, so maybe
I'm
this
not
is
too
a car.
much into the Mario universe as well, so I can't really tell.
I just mean I've not played enough games to know what this is, but it kind of looks like an egg car with like caterpillar track wheels, kind of. Perhaps could have been more. The wheels could probably be more readable, and so could the cart, which I'm guessing that's a exhaust that's coming out, that's spewing out.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was thinking what it might be.
Smoke.
So... that makes sense actually.
Yeah, it does. Maybe if I knew what this was referenced on, it would be better. I don't like the outline on the bottom of his mouth, where he's just chosen to make it lighter, but it sort of feels like it should be darker because actually no, the light source is coming from the right, but then the top outline on his head should maybe have been made a bit lighter. He's got that other darker color there that he could have used. Yeah, so there's some selective outline going on here, but not always exactly the way I would have done it on the wheels. I think because of the fact that the tracks or the rubber or whatever it is black, I would have also made those outlines black just because.
Well, I think it's not selective outline here. It's more like he tried to use or make the outline the color of the object it is on. Like on the left, there's like a gray outline on the egg because the egg is sort of white, so I guess it's gray, right? And on the tires, it is mostly black except the part where the wheels turn into red. Even though there would be rubber in place of that, I get it, but I think that's what he was trying to go for. You see it on his neck as well, or his cheek, I suppose, where the green outline goes into the gray outline. Doesn't really work all that well. Probably should be more consistent with the outline color. I mean, generally it works quite well to pick a color that's similar to the color of the actual shape you're surrounding. But don't switch it around too much because it just turns out looking weird sometimes, especially with this shading. It kind of appears bevel embossed, kind of shady. So it looks sort of flat with only the edges being highlighted.
Yeah, that's very. There's definitely the illusion of the 3D form in this is definitely lost on me. So I would, yeah, there's probably a few problems. Some with lighting, some with noise. It's really hard to put my finger on exactly on all the things that are problematic here. But I guess just I think defining the forms more here. You keep the light source if you want, but just to like focus more on trying to make 3D shapes of what you're actually trying to draw. So the egg sort of looks like half an egg pointing forward, but that does a weird thing at the bottom where the wheels are. I'm guessing that it's supposed to be round all the way, and the wheels are put in such a way that it like forces your perspective to be like this is a very top-down view, but then whereas sitting in it, it's sort of already horizon line. And then his head is just whatever. It's a head. It's organic. You can't really tell. But yeah, I think the perspective changes a bit in each thing. The bright red sort of sticks out really harshly against the black. That yellow also sticks out quite a lot, but is fine. The exhaust doesn't stick out enough, and the dust clouds maybe could have been further away from Yoshi, as in if he angled the exhaust more towards out the back.
Yeah.
And then put the dust clouds there, maybe. But I do actually like the way that he's done the dust. I think those are cute colors, but there's a lot of banding and stuff going on.
I was actually about to say the exact opposite because I don't really like the dust at all. I think it looks more like rocks coming out of the exhaust, and that's why I also couldn't identify it as an exhaust at first because it looks too solid to me. And what I would do instead is push the color or the gray from the clouds more towards the background color, like give it a more bluish tint, so it looks more transparent. I think that would help a lot. Like for one, pushing it more to the back, so because right now it looks like it's on the same level as his head is, and not like behind the car. And it also adds to the illusion that it's actually dust.
Yeah. Not something else. Naked people are coming up. Yeah, so I think that's about as much time as we need to spend here.
Yep.
Cool. Moving along.
Well, that's not even blocky art anymore, is it?
It is blocky art.
Well, yeah, I guess you can make out some of the blocks.
Oh, you mean it's like the pixels are so small?
Yeah, it's very high resolution.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I had to zoom in quite a lot before I could actually get to the 1 times. Oh, this is 2, and it's posted at 2 times zoom. So there we go. It's definitely blocky out. You want to take the lead here?
I honestly don't know what to say myself.
Good, because I'm like,
okay, let's see. It's really bright, and I'm not sure really that's bright. A good thing. It looks like almost like it has a snowy feel to it, and I think that's what the artist is going for. There's like little smoky clouds in front of the mouths, and like footsteps from where they're coming from. So I guess it is supposed to be sort of snowy and cold, and I think that sells. I'm not sure why they're wearing short pants though.
Yeah, they're hardcore. That's why they're just like I go hiking in shorts. Maybe they're wearing pants and they're just wearing pants over their pants. There's not a lot of cleanup going on here. Some of the lines get double thick at points. There's random dots of the blue above the white line at the top there, and Yeah, most of this is very much just someone took a pencil in whatever art program and drew. Less pixel art and more just using the pencil.
Yeah,
As
that's
a
why I
tool.
was saying it's not even blocky art
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. So that's interesting. Although the buildings, I do actually. I don't like what's on top of the buildings. I think that looks could have been done a little bit better. But I do like the way the buildings are done at least.
Mm-hmm.
Two solid colors for the face that's facing the sun and the face that isn't, and then some creative stuff with this structures
Well,
underneath
none of the
them
faces is
and the
actually
stairs.
facing the sun, right?
Good point. Who knows? And then lights coming out of it with a slightly different color. And I mean, I like the color scheme of the houses as a separate entity, and I do like the contrast against that blue. They do work, but I think that outline on the top of the snow there is a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, and then there's smoke coming out of the top of this building, I think, and it's going across the sun. The sun, which is darker than the background behind the sun, and the smoke is
actually,
behaving weird.
What is interesting about the sky is, or what it is at least reminds me of, if you actually look into the sun and when it's setting like this, you can actually do it without hurting your eyes too much. But at some point, your eyes will start. I don't know what the term for it is, but
doing magic.
They will try to compensate for the light intake and colors is shifting, and this is the kind of vibe I'm getting from this, which is kind of interesting.
That is cool. That's cool. I've never been in snow, so I don't know how the hell it behaves and what your life's like. Maybe this is a perfect rendition. Yeah, that's all the time I feel like giving this.
Yeah, it feels a bit surreal from the color scheming here, I'd say, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, color scheming, but I don't feel like critiquing it this pixel art.
Yeah, there's not much going on to critique as well. There's like few layers of hills, I suppose, house, sun, some puffy clouds, which actually do look quite nice, I have to say. They're cute. Moving on.
Okay. Moving on.
Ooh, what's this? Old Town District by an entire coconut.
Wow, a whole coconut made this.
Yep. Okay, first thing that is coming to my attention in this is soft lighting. And why this is probably a screenshot from in-game. The lighting looks kind of weird because it's only on the left side edge of the buildings.
Yes.
Not always. There's some in the center on the leftmost building, and on the walls below it's also on the center here there, but there doesn't seem to be a light source for this.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because with effects like this you can really push your pixel art in games in an interesting direction. But you have to use it in a way that's believable. And right here it looks like digital. It's there just for the purpose of being there, not for the purpose light should actually be there. That's because the light source is there, right? So that's a shame.
Yeah.
It suffers from the problem we pointed out before with each individual brick being drawn on the buildings. I mean, it looks a bit more rustic that way, but also looks like the
buildings... noisy.
Yeah, it is noisy. And that also, I don't know, these single pixels, which are also very regular, make it almost look like these buildings are made from steel plates. And I'm not sure that's actually what's going on, or if it's just happening on accident, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do look like steel.
Yeah, even the colors hint at it. It's more bluish, greenish, and it's maybe a bit more rusted or corroded. Well, maybe that's what he's going for. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they are. Oh well. But I would say that the fact that everything's been drawn out, there's a lot of detail on both the walls and the floor, and that takes out a lot from these characters, who are actually really hard to read on this. The roofs
It's on
look.
fire.
The roof is on fire. The roofs are also very noisy. They're very noisy roofs. There's just a lot of noise with the really large flat textures, which I think they could have gotten away with. Maybe doing slightly less, just maybe less contrast between fewer colors, less contrast. You can even keep the colors, honestly, if you're willing to put enough, lower the contrast with them and just have very small differences. But yeah, I think just to draw away from it, because there's way too much attention being paid to those textures now. I can't, like, my eye can't really see anything else, and when it eventually does, it's like, oh wow. Because everything else is then pretty simple, right? Like the banisters and stuff, they're like 2 colors, 3 colors, and it's like, bam, there's a banister. I'm like, yeah, looks cool. The little lamps, they're going, a couple colors of them total.
Characters,
So
especially. There's not a lot of colors going
yeah,
on. Like the one standing in the middle with the hood and the cat claws, I think. Yes, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But there's, I don't know, it's a handful of colors going on there, so.
Yeah, handful. The characters have handful. So why is there so much happening on these surfaces? It just, you can't read them. You should just you just need to tone that down and make them look more like flat surfaces, but then make sure that you do, like, there are a couple of bricks that maybe look like they should be sticking out here and there, and there's like on this middle building, there's like a horizontal piece where it looks like it should be sticking out to something, but there's no shadows underneath. There's no darker contrast to show. The windows also look like they kind of just exist magically within the walls. There's no like line to say, oh, there's a cutout here or anything. So, strangely enough, needs more contrast on these walls, but only in key places where it's actually getting darker. And then needs to reduce the contrast and everything else, just so that you're actually defining shapes with your contrast rather than just drawing individual bricks. Because that just looks noisy. Even the floor, it's like circles. It's a lot of circles. There's a lot of color in those circles. I get it, cobblestone floor, but find a way to either hint at this, the outlines more, rather, or just make it look flatter and just add, reduce contrast. Something. Just do something to match the style more. I think that's the biggest issue with this, is so much noise on the large flat surfaces that aren't supposed to get any attention. That's me.
Yeah. And that was me. I have nothing else to say. I like the characters though. Well,
they're cute, yeah.
The 1 or 2 I can actually make out.
On the left.
The second from the left, it's really hard to make out with the background.
What's going on?
Because it also has some greens in there, it looks like, which blend really hard with the floor. So it's, I don't know, it looks like a demon with big horns or ears with a tongue sticking out. But the only thing I see right now is in his stomach area, there's a goofy face. So that's a problem.
Orkies. Yeah, no, doing better work on the ground there would just help push out that poor guy. So yeah. But I mean, the characters look like they could potentially be really cool, but you can't really read them. Yeah. Maybe just a little bit of changes to make them. But they definitely have a lot of potential. And these lamps, they also have potential. So this game has a lot of potential, but just need to work on the hierarchy of visual elements to help things stand out better. That's a good way to put it. Yes. Cool. I only remembered those words now. Cool. I'm gonna move on because I'm done here.
Yeah. There's a running animation for what looks like a werewolf by the super weapon.
Yeah, demon thingy. Not sure about its origins. Yeah, so I also saw someone post the making of this animation somewhere. I can't remember where.
Probably in here somewhere? In the Reddit subreddit?
No, I think no, not in the subreddit. I think it was on one of the Discords or something. Maybe on Twitter even. Anyway, so yeah, smooth animation.
Yeah, definitely. But lots of things going on that shouldn't be going on. Well, let me start with some of the things that I think are actually really good. And that's
Yes.
the torso rotation. I think that really
Mm,
nailed it. The way he swings shoulders back and forth looks really fierce and like he's coming for you, right? The problem starts at the head then, because if you move your upper body as violently as he is, your head is naturally going to turn even just a little bit to the left and right and bobbing back and forth and side to side. So a little bit of movement there would have been nice just to keep the dynamic movement going. And I think the worst problem of it all is that it appears to be like the right leg and the right arm are going forwards at the same time instead of alternating, and that really breaks it all for me. I don't know. This stuff just doesn't work. If you try to run like that, you will be on your face faster than you will make the next 2 meters.
I see. I see. Yeah, so this might actually be suffering. Who knows? I haven't seen it in game, but something that actually exists is called treadmill running. Something like that, where usually what happens and why you try to avoid having you're saying that the right legs or the right bits look like they're swinging more, right?
I'm saying the right arm and the right leg swing forwards and back at the same time in sync and not alternating. That's at least how I see it.
Yes,
and I
I
can't
see.
unsee it, so.
Yeah. So I was gonna. So the. I'll just quickly finish up the treadmill thing.
Yeah.
The treadmill thing is that sometimes you get running animations that actually look good when they're still, but then when you actually put them like in a game running, they look a little bit weird. It's like it's just out of time. Which is when you have a lot of these like lungy runs, which this might be a lungy run, but he might have done it and thought about it and put the little marks in the ground, and it does have a good running, but it's potentially something that people need to look out for. Like maybe this animation doesn't actually work when you run. And then my problem, the hips, I can't really tell. Which leg is going forward. That's a problem. It's like it could be either, and
it looks more like the right one is going forward with the left one, just because there's no definition in the hip and both legs are highlighted the same.
Yeah,
and it would already help if the his left leg, the leg
we'll just put in shadow.
Side, just remove the highlight from it so it's clear.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it at the arm, right? At least at the upper arm.
Yes, exactly.
So it gets separated. Just do the same thing on the leg and fixed.
Yeah, definitely do the same thing with the leg so that it's more equal.
Do some definition on the hips and maybe on the obliques too.
Yeah, that makes cool.
Because that's just black area. It's kind of looking weird, but yeah.
And if the leg is moving as much as it should be, you should be able to see some butt in there as well. Maybe put in some butt shading. But yeah, just some work on the legs there to really push out which leg is in front and which one is at the back. I think is a necessity. I like the shadow changes size as he goes up and down. That's cool. It's cute and it's also very nice and smooth. I'm not as offended by the head not moving as you are, but
I'm not offended by it. I just hate it.
Offended by it. It looks cool. Good job. I'm sure this looks rad in the game. Although actually, it's a very mono color. There's very little change in just very little, probably very little hue shifting going on. Very little something is lacking. I think there's also a highlight on the face that doesn't exist anywhere else. Like maybe added. True. Yeah, which I think probably.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's
There's actually a thing that offends me, and that is that this creature doesn't have any feet at all, nor a tail, which I think would be amazing with this animation. Just tail that swings with the run.
Oh yes, I'm at a tail.
Yeah, and the more I look at it, the animation seems kind of lopsided as well. Because when his right arm swings back, it seems the arm lingers a frame longer. The right arm lingers a frame longer on the back than the left one. So it seems like he's lunging forward faster with his right side. And that makes for a really uneven looping animation.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool effect because it's like not as monotonous as running left and right, but that's what I was talking about with the treadmill thing. Is that if you have a lunge, a one-sided lunge, or even two-sided lunge, if you have a lunge, then often this will throw out the timing of the run animation when you actually
either you have to compensate with game code with it, so it actually looks still good, and even then I would say if you have a one-sided lunge, then emphasize on it really. Like have the left leg only have like a quick step, but not as far, and use the right step and the right claw to really lunge forward, right? So there's more of a contrast going on between the left leg and the right leg going forward. Maybe I'm actually doing an edit on this. This is interesting.
It's an animation, so good luck extracting it.
Fuck, you're right.
I am right. I'm done.
Maybe
you know what?
Maybe there's a link. Maybe.
I mean, you can download it, and maybe there's some way to extract. Like I'll stick it in a folder and see. You know, maybe it's possible to extract GIFs from.
Oh yeah, there's also the.
There's the thing. Yeah.
There's the thing.
Oh, that's a good point. This is posted somewhere else. That's also you really should be able to. You should be able to just get the GIF, yeah. Or is that actually a GIF?
It says GIF, but this is Twitter, so I'm not sure. I will try to grab it later.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Okay, try to grab it later. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move along then.
Oh, this is cute.
What? Oh, my God. Oh, the little ducky thing.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's fucking amazing. I love it.
Just wait a moment until Weasel stops having too much fun. No, it's really cute. I really like it.
It's fucking great. I love it.
It's great. It's very cute. It's another video, annoyingly as hell. I wish that somehow we could get GIFs back on our lives. I miss the days when people just posted GIFs.
Yeah.
What has happened?
Why are people stop posting GIFs?
Anyway, it's very cute, very simple. Uses only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 colors, and then a background, and then blank. So that's very minimalistic. Still see a lot of movement out of it, despite having so few colors. You can see it rotating, looking
around, pooping,
stumbling, pooping up its beak.
Yes.
Looking towards the camera. No, it's super impressive that he's managed to get this range of motion out of so few pixels.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you can tell what it is, what it does.
Yep. No, exactly.
Really great.
Bloody awesome.
And it's fucking cute as well.
It is very cute, and I love the colors.
Mm-hmm.
I do. No, this is really cool. I do like how many people are very good at just making animations, and you just like it doesn't take a lot. You don't need a lot of you don't need a lot of images to make a cool animation. Good job, guy. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say.
No, there's really not much to say about this because, well, it's a handful of pixels, but it's really competently made.
Yeah,
it's fucking
it's
cute.
great.
It's adorable.
Then the key feature of this animation is that it's fucking cute.
Oh yeah.
Remember.
Okay, there's
cool. Good job.
What looks like a freaking huge piece by Rachel's Ham, sorry. Characters from Game of Thrones and Pixels. Perfect ending or not? I had a lot of fun watching the show over the years. Yeah, I think it's going down in flames right now, isn't it? I haven't really watched the show myself, but I've been watching some reviews about the past episodes. I'm having fun with it, I have to say.
Yeah. People are not happy.
Yeah, that's why I'm having fun.
Yeah, I know exactly. What can you do? Sorry, people. So Game of Thrones commentary, all said and done. So my computer is struggling to load this because it's
overrunning. Let me do the first comment.
We use hamsters to send our internet to Europe, so it's or to anywhere the internet. So give me a while. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of dithering. but it's for texture. So
that's a JPEG. Just needed to mention this and stop doing that, please.
Yeah, stop. Please don't save as JPEG. Thank you.
Move in there, especially for the throne. Let me get over there. Like, what's going on there? It's blending in each other. I mean, you probably can't see it on stream, but holy hell, don't do this. Just don't do this. It's making things bigger, making things less readable, and just use PNG or BMP if you must, or GIF, but don't use JPEG for PixArt. People will hate you for it, us especially.
Yes, people will hate you for using JPEG, especially us. It detracts so much from me. Yeah. It's just not clear anymore. Stupid compression happens. Ugh. Anyway, that aside, very noisy. Mm-hmm. Some proportion issues. Doesn't look like very well defined light sources on most of these. Although you can keep things flat, it's a stylistic choice.
But then keep it consistently flat.
Yeah. I mean, the problem here is inconsistency.
Most of them are flat, and then you have the golden guy in the golden armor, and it's like clear highlight from one side.
Yeah, it's definitely could have. So there's a bit of inconsistency going on.
Like the brown girl with the big hair and the blue robe. That looks really nice. That's a nice flat robe. Works really well. And then the guy next to it, a lot of noisy dithering, possibly for chainmail, but just doesn't really work, doesn't read well.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
And then the girl in the red red skirt, robe, mantle, whatever it is.
That is the one that I'm most upset about.
Be upset about it.
Looks like a sticker.
I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. Looks like a sticker stuck on a thing. No, I don't know. Hey, you can tell that we all know the characters from Game of Thrones really well here. Wizzle and I are avid followers of this particular series, and we're like, yes, the girl with the thing and the stuff.
Oh, another little one, but I forgot how it was called.
I was like, I know the little. No, I don't know. I know that one of these people is Jon Snow. Probably. That is to assume that they would put him in a big weird.
In the top one, the second to the left, but I don't fucking know.
I don't know. That guy's kind of short, wouldn't he be like? I don't know. Anyway, enough of showing our ignorance. Yes.
Yeah, some of them are working quite nicely, especially when only using flat colors, like the big buff guy in the bottom row.
The big buff guy? Yeah, no, that's officially his name, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. He looks great. It's cool.
It's great.
I mean, there's a bit of noise going on the shoulders and on the back of his cape. That could be straightened out, quite literally. But other than that, I think he looks really good.
Yeah. No, so there's this art style is reminiscent of of a few pixel art games. There was a fad at some point where everything was this style. It is a nice style because it's really simple to animate and stuff. Flat colors and stuff like that. So I guess in the sky is well on its way to have that sort of thing. There is also a character at the top on the right of the throne that has very simple colors going on.
Oh yeah, this one is really simple.
Very flat, but it still looks pretty good. I mean, you can see that they're wearing clothes, and it's very simple. Like, it just looks cool. So, you know, if you're gonna choose a style, I would try to go over for that more flat-looking styles, like no shading. Just keep
no detailing or no texturing. Maybe
no texturing, but keep the you're still getting details across, just nothing too small.
Yeah, I mean, you can even go for shading because you can always imply depth with few colors as well, right? Just don't do this checkerboard thing. That doesn't tell the viewer anything about it other than there's I guess some noise going on, so it's not a smooth texture, but. Pixel art isn't really made for this, so it doesn't really work.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm happy. I'm done.
Since we don't know any of these characters, I don't think we can rate the likeness of any of them.
Yeah, they look like dudes with little black dots for eyes. It's a good job. Cute little animation again.
Mm-hmm. Cozy Campfire in Cat Maze by R. Blackspade. The flame looks nice and bubbly. I like that.
The flame looks nice and bubbly.
Characters,
yeah. No, I like.
Cute as well.
Sorry, my computer is just struggling to load live. I will be with you in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame that the video is compressed to shit. Just use GIFs, people. It's actually made for this kind of stuff.
I think that Reddit might convert though to video.
Oh yeah, it actually says here.
Not seen
GIF. Can I just remove this and it shows a GIF? No, it's forbidden.
dreaming hard.
Oh damn.
Reddit. Why can't you?
Maybe there's a way to actually get the GIF. I have to ask Annie about this. He's a Reddit nerd.
He's a Reddit nerd. He'll know. He'll know how they do these things.
No, okay. No, you're crackling. Stop moving. Okay.
Oh.
It's good. Stop moving.
Oh, yeah, I stopped moving. Oh, I moved back. Okay, so, yes, it's a cool little bubbly, fiery, framey thingy. There's obviously some that looks like a gradient of. That looks like there's transparency on some of the glowy pieces, and it goes dark in a gradient.
Is it actually? I'm not sure because the compression is so bad.
I think it is.
It could actually be that it's not a gradient happening here because it looks like distinct colors to me right now. But it's really hard to tell.
Hard to tell with this kind of. Yeah. This is very lossy. Hard to really.
No. It also looks like it jumps in the animation, so it looks a bit choppy in places. The animation could be a bit smoother, even more bouncy than he's actually showing here right now.
Even more bouncy.
Yeah, to sell the I don't know, the cuteness of it, because it appears to be that it's supposed to be kind of cute.
Yeah.
And it could be even more cute if it's more bouncy.
Yeah. And then why are people starting a fire on a bed of dead leaves? You're about to ignite yourself, just so that you know that you're going to start a felt fire because it's autumn and all the leaves are dry, and you've just started a fire on a patch of dry leaves. But health and safety aside, the leaves are it's a repeated pattern. That makes sense. You would repeat. But it's tiled, so that's cool. Making.
What I would say about this is everything has quite distinct colors. The characters, at least, the logs and the fire. And then the leaves, they have a huge range or huge color ramp going on. From the leaves in the back to the leaves in the very front. Probably about 6, 7, maybe more colors.
58 colors. Yeah, no, the background definitely has a lot more colors. But I'm not offended by this kind of thing.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't work for me, but I guess it can work in general.
Yeah, it's like anime does this a lot. The anime characters have like simple shapes, and in the background's like some dude painted it.
Yeah, that's true.
And Chasm actually also does this, where they have really, really detailed backgrounds with lots of colors, and then the main characters, just the character and the characters are all like very simple shapes. They're sort of very dualistic, almost, which also makes sense.
Let me rephrase. Pardon? The thing that bugs me about it is that the characters and the bonfire sprite is just like, it looks slapped on because there's no shadow going on beneath the logs or the characters. So maybe that's what's putting me off here as well.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. It doesn't look like, it looks like someone just took a background and then stuck things on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't look grounded at all. And she is slightly higher than him, despite being in front of him. So you would think that she would be, lower on the ground, or the floor was skew. And the technically that means the fire is also floating kind of in the air. But, whatever. It's life. Sometimes fire floats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The leaves have some... Yeah, it's kind of hard since it's like light source. There's like a random light source. Plus he's used like tiling and there's some mirroring in the back trees.
Mm-hmm.
So like his light source is just not going to be anywhere. But if he wants to keep the tiling, you kind of need to keep that. Everything is described well enough. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's the limitations of what's happening or something. But you can't have a clearly defined light source then for the background. Yeah, I guess we're just viewing this the assets of this in one way, one animation, which kind of makes you expect to see some things. But then because they're more like tiled, flipped assets, you don't really get the feeling. And the background leaves still have as much detail as the foreground leaves. But if they're in the background, generally, you'll just give them less.
Yeah.
Fewer colors.
Maybe 2 shades only, not 5.
Yeah. They also don't really describe the playable surface, so the surface where the characters would be standing on, very well. I guess that's another problem. Like, even if there weren't shadows for the stuff, if the playable surface were very flat and obvious, like here's where you stand, which is what a lot of games would do. So assuming that this is game graphics, then unless you like run around up and down, in which case maybe shadows is the only way to do it. It's tricky to say. Anyway, I'm over it.
Cool.
I don't take long to get over things, but it's cool. Cool animation, but could have done some work.
Alright, let's do 1 or 2 more, maybe, and then...
Yeah, I think 2 more, because I see a little Lapras. I like the Lapras, but let's just have a look at this one quickly.
What? A Lapras?
It's a Lapras.
I don't know what a Lapras is, so let's look at this city first. By Aleha. That's cute. Oh, there's a little tram.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Most exciting part about this, there's a tram.
That's a tram! And there must have been a lot of work. That's probably like coded, the little people that are walking around.
Yeah.
I don't think they are hand placed and created. I would say it's a cute piece, but there's a lot of repetition going on with the houses, and I think if it would be a couple more different shapes of houses and kinds of houses and like streets going in between the houses, could have been so much cooler. But it's for now. I think the middle fourth, like just the street basically with the first line of houses plus a tram and a couple of the trees, would be a much better piece. Just because there's something interesting going on everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just the repeating pattern over and over on the top and bottom.
Yes, so I definitely would have helped if the buildings had a little bit more variation. I wouldn't want to necessarily just cut it off just in case this is part of the composition, but like you need to change something. But yeah, it is really cool. And I had to replay the video and not even finished. Cute little movement of the little people. They're very simple, and yet they work. If it is, are they maybe Mixels? Well, I don't think so. Doesn't look like Mixels, but there might be. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's a bit blurry.
In a game, though, that kind of comes out and being fine, though, because you have like people that run around and you need to bring them.
I would still yell at you if you use Mixels in the game.
Yeah, I mean, good. Expect nothing else out of me. But the people are actually pretty descriptive considering how small a space they have, which is really cool. And the tram is very cute. It also looks really cool. Even the train tracks look fine. The trees leave something to be desired and don't really match the wall around it either. Doesn't really match the rest of the aesthetic. Like everything else has a different feel to it, different style.
The street is super wide as well. I don't know if the cars are as big as one lane of the street, then there could be like 10 people sitting in the front row of it.
This is a massive road. Yes, But I mean, hey, it's a cute little animation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't see better. Can't comment more. Let's go into Lapras. Call it a day.
Wait,
I feel like I've done a lot.
never mind.
Okay, replaying.
Oh, good. Yeah, tell me what a Lapras is, because I don't know. Is it a
Wow.
Pokemon?
Okay. Yes, it is a Pokemon.
Okay. Enough said.
It is. It's a first gen Pokemon even. So not knowing it is paramount to being scum of the earth.
Well, which I am.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, just open up a tab with the Lapras on it quickly so that you can see what a Lapras looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, so this person has replayed Fire Red and made a
that
quick
one. Okay, I know it. Yeah.
art. Yes,
Cool.
you know that one. You see, you just couldn't recognize it.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is the Wise Hedgehog. And yeah, this is a Lapras. I'm 100% going to edit this because I love Pokemon. And
wait, did you say hedgehog? It looks more like a turtle.
the Wise Hedgehog is the name of the person who made this.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Never mind.
I like that he.
It's getting late.
I like Water trying to do what he's trying to do. What are those things called? The lighter squiggles. Not the waves. It's when you do.
I know the term. I forgot it.
I know, right? Okay, there's a term, guys. There's a term for those light things that happen on the floor. Good. When in water you get those that grid pattern that happens, that squiggly grid pattern. There's a real word for that that we suck and can't remember of. So they've tried to do that around that.
As it happens. Fucking hell.
Huh?
As it happens every fucking time.
Yeah, I know exactly. Which is cute, although I may have moved it, but it kind of looks like the water is raised where Lapras is, but maybe he's just come up. And that is what's happening.
Yeah. The problem with those lines is, just to point it out real quick, they usually form at the surface of the bottom of the ground, basically under the water, and not on the surface of the water.
Yes,
and,
however, because of how characteristic they are, people still use them to define the top of water.
Yeah.
In which case, they do them in a style that's more reminiscent of waves. So they will use colors like these whites and stuff to be like, this is the foam that also has a word better than foam at the top of the waves.
Yeah, I think foam is pretty widely used.
Yeah, there's a word
you're
for
crackling
the
really bad
foam.
right now.
Oh, sorry. Is it better?
I think so, maybe.
Okay.
Talk.
There is a word for the foam that specifically happens. I was rocking. I should stop rocking.
Yeah.
The foam that happens on the surf. It's called surf. Holy
is it? Interesting.
damn. This Pokemon literally uses surf, and I could not think of the word for surf. I'm bad at life. Anyway, the surf around him that looks like the squiggly grid thing. Anyway, problems with this pixel art are that his chest is definitely underneath him, so it shouldn't be so highlighted with those highlighty colors. Probably doesn't need that many colors. And the light source in general is a bit off. There's maybe some pillow shading and stuff happening. And just the general form of the Lapras, probably because the perspective is a bit wrong, doesn't really come across properly. So I think I would change the perspective first, and then choose one light source and try to go over it. Yes. And maybe use different colors, because I think Lapras is a bit of he's more like a light desaturated blue and less of this dark saturated blue. And I don't think you would see the underside of its mouth from the top as well, so I don't think you need those lighter bits going all the way up. But I will give an in-depth, because I'm definitely going to do this edit. I will give a more in-depth one next week of what I think could have been done here.
That's cool. Next week, you say, yeah?
I mean, next episode. Definitely not next week, because damn, we're slow. Next episode.
That's an estimate. I don't think we will be able to.
No, we're bad at remembering to do things. But yeah, so I'll give more of an in-depth. But yeah, I think those are the initial things that stick out to me. Also, there's a lot of banding going on because he's used, pixel art lines, and things. So, yeah. but that'll all get fixed with having a proper light source. Those are all issues that normally just go away if you pick better. Okay.
Cool.
Anything else you have to say? Shall we call it? We're calling.
Yeah, let's call it. Sounds good. We've
Cool.
been on it for more than
Ages.
2 hours. I think that's good enough. That's more than people can handle, anyways.
Yeah, no one's even watched this far. We're just babbling to ourselves at this point.
Yeah, that's fine though. That's
Cool.
what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, it was cool having another PixFix with you, Weasel, and thank you very much to the viewers for watching. I guess I should shamelessly say, if you like this, please hit like and subscribe and any other
stop
buttons.
this shit. Everybody
No,
will
okay, cool.
do it anyways when they want to.
It's a good point. We're done already. People are not stupid by the time they've got this far. But cool, yeah. Thanks, Weasel. That was great.
Yeah, always fun, even though it takes some time sometimes.
Yeah. No, what are you gonna do?
It was just
Cool.
barely 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
Definitely not more than that.
Oh no. That's how many it was. Okay, cool. Well, we shall see you all next time on PixFix. Cheers.
Cheerio.